What's up, guys? I'm Kel, Red Zone Rogue, and today I'd like to introduce you guys to Shadowverse. So this is a free-to-play card game available on Android, iOS, and Steam. I've been playing this game a ton, both on Steam and my Android, and I just have to say, I fucking love this game. I'm playing it so much. I'm totally not addicted or anything. Let's click to start. This is the Steam version, if you couldn't tell. I mean, obviously, I'm not recording this on my Android, though you probably could. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. I'd like to go over mechanics and introduce you guys to the game because I think it's really cool, and I'm probably going to do a lot more videos on this game. This is just the deck that I've been using. It's a pretty cool deck. Anyway, as you can see right off the bat, there is a very distinct anime art style. Those of you familiar with the Rage of Bahamut stuff is like this, almost the same art. People familiar with Hearthstone would also be very familiar with this game as well. You can see, like, let's just go over the card stats really quick. So, like, this is very simple. On the bottom here, we have attack and defense. We have the play point cost, which is 5. And here you have some mechanics. Storm is like haste or charge for Hearthstone. You can attack the turn it comes into play. And enhance is a new mechanic where you can pay 9 instead of the 5, and it gets, like, this new ability. Plus, there's a very unique mechanic with this game where you can evolve your minions, and when you evolve them, they can attack the turn they come into play, but they cannot attack face. Storm, you can attack face, but if you evolve them, they cannot attack face, unless they already have Storm. And when you evolve them, they, you know, kind of transform, and they evolve. It looks pretty cool. There's also animated cards, as you can see. Both sides would be animated, and the key thing to know about this game is that it's incredibly polished, it's incredibly fun, and the devs are super generous. You get tons and tons of free packs. It is so easy to get into this game. Let's just jump into one of my favorite mechanics of the game, which is the replays here. So I'm gonna look at the replay. Here you can see a replay of the games that I've most recently played. Here we have a bunch of Take Two, which is kind of like a draft or an arena, and then we have a bunch of ranked matches here. Let's just pick a random ranked match. Let's just do this one, and we'll talk about the game mechanics as we go over the match right here. We have the splash screen. This game is fairly recent. There's only 2 expansions for it so far, and I guess they come out like every 3 months. So here we have. Let's pause it for a second. So I'm here on the bottom. I'm playing Swordcraft. My opponent up here on the top is playing Forestcraft. There are several different crafts or classes that you can choose from in the game. I can go over those later as well. And here we're selecting cards to mulligan. It's very much like Hearthstone. You just pick the cards that you want to get rid of, and you'll draw cards from your deck. So I'll hit play. I chose to get rid of probably the... Oh, really? I kept the 4-drop? I think it's just because I want to curve into this 4-drop because it's a very, very good 4-drop. During the, on the battle screen, let's go over a couple of things first. So here's your character. You can see your health, 20 right here. Your opponent has 20. Right here, this orb with the 4 right here, this is how many turns you have until you can evolve. And these little crystals above it are how many times you can evolve in that match. And there are some special cards that will let you do that more. I do have one in this deck. I'm not sure if I play it during this round. Probably not. If you go second, you do have more evolve points than your opponent who goes first. Also, if you go second, you draw 2 cards on your first turn instead of 1. So going second, you do have a pretty good advantage. Let's see, what else should I note? Oh, each class, or each craft, or whatever, has a unique mechanic. I'm playing Swordcraft, and my unique mechanic is traits. So each one of my unique Swordcraft units has either a commander or a officer. Officers being the lower ones, commanders being the higher ones, and certain cards do different things based on if you have an officer or commander. And the Forestcraft mechanic is based around playing multiple cards in a turn. Anyway, let's keep going. Oh wait, one more thing that's important. Right here, this is where you can see how many play points you have. You get one of them per turn to a maximum of 10. It's kind of like your mana crystals from Hearthstone. So yeah, let's go. My opponent chooses to pass on their first turn. I go second, so I draw 2 cards. I will also pass. They play nothing on their second turn, which is a huge get for me. Here I have multiple options. I'm probably just going to throw down a Veteran Lancer. I'm not going to go over individual card mechanics right now because this is just an introductory video. So my opponent plays a removal spell, deals 2 damage to an enemy follower, and they get a fairy in their hand. You can click this scroll button right here to see what just happened. You can click on the spells and the effects to see exactly what went down. Also, you can click on this thing up the top just to see who you're playing against. Here's me, Red Zone Rogue, cool and casual. And here's my opponent. I don't speak Korean. I'm not sure what language that is, but yeah. Anyway, let's continue.
Hey,
so
let's play.
They kill my dude and immediately just play a fairy. I'm probably just gonna run out another 2/2. Yep. One mechanic that is pretty useful is the ward mechanic. So it is like taunt from Hearthstone. And if you're not familiar with that, it just means that your opponents must attack it before they can attack your face. And the way combat works in the game is it's very much like Hearthstone. You pick a unit, and then you can choose where to attack. You can choose to attack your enemy units, or you can choose to attack your opponent's face. You can only have 5 units on your board at a time, so space is limited. What else? Yeah, let's just go on. Oh, health does not heal at the end of turns like Magic. It is very much like Hearthstone. Your characters stay damaged between turns. Anyway, let's continue. So I'm playing Archer. Whenever another allied follower comes into play, deal 1 damage to a random unit. Chooses not to attack into my 2/2. I will definitely choose to pick off his 2/1 because I am playing a control deck. I want to, you know, wipe up my opponent's board as much as I can. And if I'd had to guess, I would probably say that I'm going to play the Floral Fencer and evolve her, because when you evolve her, you summon a knight and a Steelclad knight, which is pretty sweet. It's a lot of tempo. This is one of my favorite cards in the entire game. Let's see. Yep, Floral Fencer coming down. This is why I kept it in my opening hand instead of mulliganing it, even though it was a 4-drop. Alright, so what's going on here? I played the Floral Fencer from my hand. I immediately evolved it so it can attack on the same turn it comes into play, but it cannot attack my opponent's face, so I will definitely kill off my opponent's unit, and then that'll be the end of my turn.
Sorry, guys.
So now, since my opponent went first, they can now also evolve.
We're the protectors of peace. Whoa, you're strong.
And they play a unit and concede. I probably should have picked a different match. But yeah, there you have it. I guess it's a short and sweet match. Trying to keep it short and sweet. Let's see, what else can I show you guys? Alright, so here is my profile. This is my user ID. You can feel free to add me if you want. I will accept all friend requests. You know, whatever, I don't really care. And yeah, this is my account. I'm only C1 rank in the ranking so far. I hear it's pretty easy to get up to these higher ranks. I have played against the AA rank players in Arena, and the skill difference between them and me right now isn't too big, but I'm a veteran of these sort of card games. Anyway, yeah, this is Shadowverse. It is a ton of fun. Like I said before, there is an Arena mode. It functions a little bit differently than Hearthstone. In this one, you pick your choice of 2 separate pairs of cards. So you have a pair of cards on one side, a pair of cards on the other side, and then you can choose which one you want. I'm not going to click this right now because I have an Arena video that I would like to make coming up. Spoilers, I did very, very well. And yeah, the game is very, very generous with the packs that you get. When you start out, you get a ton of free packs. There's something that people do called, you know, let's buy a pack just to show you. There's something that people do called re-rolling, where they make an account on their phone and then see what cards that they get. And if they suck, then they reset the data on their phone and then make a new account on their phone. And then keep doing this so you get cards that are good, and then finally link that to your Steam profile or whatever. I did not do that. mostly because I did not know about that. So let's buy a pack of Darkness Evolved with some crystals here. Sure. So might as well open up a pack just to see, just to show you guys what it's like. Click my little packaroonie. The cards just burst forth. And you can swipe. What do we get? Anything good? Nope, nothing good. We did get a animated card, Animated Samurai. Got a Frog Cleric. You know, you can take your time, look at the cards, see what they do. This is actually a pretty good card right here. It's used in one of the best decks right now. And that's another thing. Some of the best decks currently are fairly inexpensive to make in regards to vials. So what vials are, it's like your dust with Hearthstone, if you're familiar with Hearthstone. If you're not, I will explain it. So when you get excess amounts of cards, you can liquefy them to get vials. Or you can liquefy the cards regardless. Say I don't want this Entangling Vines, I can liquefy it for 30 vials. And then you can spend the vials to create cards that you may want to get. So say I want to make this Ghoul's Banquet. Probably not, but say I want to make this Ghoul's Banquet. I can create it if I wanted to. Different rarities have different values to, you know, in creation. The higher rarities, you know, the more vials you'll need. But my point of all this is that some of the best decks in the game right now require not a lot of vials to make. So that's got that going for it as well. Also, on top of that, I should mention that they recently introduced, let's see, I think it's under cards, these pre-built decks. And the pre-built decks come with very good cards in them. They did a really good job of picking out the cards that come in the deck. So let's take this one, for example. I did buy this actually twice. This is the only pre-built deck I bought. You can see the cards that it comes in, or the cards that come in it. And you can click View Deck, which is exactly what we're going to do as soon as it's unloading. And this is, you know, what comes in the deck. And why this is good is because it comes with 2 legendaries. And they're both very good legendaries. This one comes with Aurelia Regal Saber and Sea Queen Otohime. As well as a bunch of, you know, pretty good gold cards like the Front Guard General. And I guess this is another good time to point out, you can have 3 of any card in your deck. Even legendaries. 3 of every single card is the max of any one card you can have in your deck. You can buy the starter decks 3 times a piece, so if you buy each of them 3 times, you will have all of the cards that come in them. So you'll have a full playset of all of the legendaries. I don't know if I would recommend that. Just pick the ones that you like, and yeah. I guess one final thing I can go over before we end is not the main story. There is a main story, which is pretty cool. There's a story mode, you can play through it. It's a very good way of teaching you how to play the game. The game is very accessible like that, but also these are all of the classes. So you have Forest Craft right here, which is kind of like I said, you get bonuses the more cards you play. It's kind of like a swarm type class. You have Swordcraft, which is another aggro type class. We already went over that. We have Runecraft, which is a spell-based class that has a lot of combos and stuff. It's a really complicated class, and it's really, really good class right now, actually. We have Dragoncraft, which is the big, splashy class. It's got, like, dragons and ramp and a whole bunch of other stuff like that. It's a pretty cool class. We have Shadowcraft, which uses a mechanic called... Well, first of all, this one uses a mechanic called Spell Boost, where when you play spells, the Spell Boost cards get additional effects. The Dragoncraft is your dragons and your spells gain additional effects based on how many play points you have. I think after 7. This one uses Necromancy, so anytime something dies or whatever, you can see right here. Activate powerful necromancy effects by spending shadows. Shadows are added to your total whenever you cast spells or when one of your followers or amulets is destroyed. So, yeah, that's what this Shadowcraft does. Bloodcraft has an effect called Vengeance, where a lot of your cards get buffed up if you have 10 life or less. And then finally we have Havencraft, which has amulets, which are kind of like enchantments or, well, I don't know what else. I don't know, Hearthstone analog. They're like cards that you play on the field that aren't minions, and they just kind of stay there and have an effect. But the Havencraft ones have a countdown, so when the countdown runs out, they get destroyed. And they usually do something really powerful when they're destroyed. This is actually one of my favorite classes for the Arena Take 2. It's the first class I ever did my 5-0 run. Anyway, guys, that is Shadowverse. I hope you liked the video. Maybe leave a like, maybe even subscribe. Every little bit helps, and I appreciate it also very much. I'm going to have some more Shadowverse videos coming in the future, so stay tuned for that. Regardless of what you do, thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you guys next time.